Alright, so a couple of things that I want to show you how to access as local folks here. One is the map that I've maintained for the past little bit here. Very intuitive search term, Spruce Budworm map Maine. It's going to take you right here. And what this is an online ArcGIS map where you can click, drag, zoom in with a scroll wheel, zoom in with this and that. So if you've got a woodlot, say, let's pick an unlucky one right here, and you want to know what is my population situation based on the nearest points and the interpolation model and the composition model, well, right here, if I own this woodlot, I know I've got some defoliation to look forward to this year. On the other hand, if I own a woodlot down here, Madawaska Lake has not drawn the short straw this year, so that is a resource that you can use to know what we know about the population at this time. Another thing, I know you've seen a lot of videos here, but this one's I think a handy one for what you're about to see in this region. So if you search, find if I can spell, the budworm, CFRU. This is going to be, well, I'll let myself talk.
Spruce budworm larvae feed in May and June on balsam fir, white, Norway, red, and black spruce. Early in the season, you might find budworm in their webs around pollen cones, which are a preferred food source. When the buds have broken, look for new branch tips that are crooked, malformed, or stuck together. Larvae web branch tips together for protection from predators and will defend their spot against other budworms. You can often find larvae by looking for these unusual branch tips on seedlings and saplings at roadside. Expect to find more larvae higher in the canopy, including trees that have fallen over after the eggs were laid last August. This is why branches are collected from the mid-canopy for L2 samples. Spruce budworm has a dull green-brown body, a black head, and 4 white dots per body segment. L3 through L6 larvae are generally similar, except in size. A common species you may find feeding in the same way is spruce coneworm, which has lines running the length of its body. Several other species also feed in the same way, but are generally not as common. Spruce budworm are not social animals, and they do not share branch tips as sawfly larvae do. Keep an eye out for budworm on understory trees, where they may have spun down, or fallen when disturbed by a predator or a competing larva. Defoliation of current year needles is not easily seen from the air, but can be observed from the ground. This is a relatively high level of defoliation from a current hotspot. If you find trees like this, please communicate their location to the Maine Forest Service or Neil Thompson at CFRU. Backfeeding on older needles occurs at higher population levels that haven't occurred in Maine since the 1980s. The population surveys you have contributed to, with the L2 branch collections and pheromone traps, can detect rising populations years before an aerial survey would detect the problem. Ground reports can be a valuable addition to these surveys. Spruce budworm larvae feed in May and June, pupate near their feeding location in June and July, emerge, fly, and lay eggs in July and August, hatch as L1 larvae in August, and overwinter in an unfed condition.
Alright, so contact information is still good there. We know that we are going to have a high population here. I live right down here. I can see it across the valley from my front window. There are populations that have been bouncing around here since 2021 at least. So there are some known knowns to that. At the population densities that you see through most of here, you are going to see some significant loss of current year needles. But when you get to August, if you're seeing needles that are pretty well stripped off, you can still see. So this is about as bad as it's been here since the 80s. This is from near St. Pompeo. But if we can find, here, I spent the winter in my freezer, so it might be pretty well pooched. There's one. Okay. So you will still see on these branches, buds, the tree has some stored energy left and will attempt a second flush of needles. And you will see that even when you have some defoliation. You can get in there, And if that's still halfway fresh, it didn't quite winter. But if you're finding that in August, you can still see the green needles that are being built for the next year. So the hottest spots down here, 63 per branch. That's on Irving down there. These guys keep drawing the short straw. That's what you get when you own land, short flight from Canada. In here, 20, you are going to see some red. So we are going to see some serious defoliation and red foliage in the valley here. And there's simply not much that can be done in terms of treating small woodlots at this time. That is a different logistical question. So we are unfortunately sitting in the middle of the control block in that sense. But most of these numbers here, the trees, I expect them to survive this. If we get several years in a row like that, that story will change. The drought that we had starting in 2017, ending in 2022, will interact with the defoliation. The trees are already somewhat stressed and therefore less able to take the defoliation. So it is concerning. It is right on our doorstep, and if you have any other questions, I'm happy to take them now.
Can you purchase this chemical as a consumer?
As a consumer, so if you pop down to either of our fine garden centers in or near town, there are several products available there. Tepifenicide, I don't believe, is available as a consumer product. BT, you have several options in that regard. I don't think I'm stepping over any guidelines here on this that to purchase BT locally. If you have a farm account, you'd be working with Dipel. That is a dry flowable certified organic product. I will admit I have a pound of that sitting in my basement. I will use maybe 1% of it, but that's the unit it comes in. And there's also a commercially available Thuricide, available as a concentrate and a spray bottle, and several other concentrated forms. You do not want BTI. That's Bacillus thuringiensis variety israelensis. That is for mosquitoes. It will not do anything for your caterpillars. You want BTK, Bacillus thuringiensis variety Kerstaki, if you're going after caterpillars. There are several other more heavy-duty chemical products available, but the BT, of course, is the preferred one. I have seen these things on the shelf at the store. They were in stock last week.
Do you know if they've ever used it for the forest tent caterpillar?
I know I have.
Yeah, that's devastating.
Yep. So they like the aspen, and I see them coming down from the aspen towards my apples, and that is my go-to. I do know in the sugar bushes in the western part of the state they have an aerial spray program to knock that back in much the same way. They've had defoliation 1 or 2 years in a row, and that does not help the sugaring.
Could you mention the application relative to the weather? For
Application relative to the weather. You cannot have rain, I believe, within 6 hours, but I will show you how we access this information. So the 4A 76, well, that's not my appmaine.edu, 4A 76B label. Whatever product, whether that's 7, whether that's BT, anything, you can just pop in the product name and the label. And let's see if I'm right on 6 hours or 4. Rain. So, training, drain, drain, drain. I am not getting dry, laundry. Spray should be allowed to dry undisturbed. Okay. Store in a cool, dry place. Laundry. Weather. Weather-related factors, determine the potential for spray drift, to improve weather fastness, use a spreader sticker, they're not using that, crop size, weather conditions, weather conditions, weather conditions. I'm a little surprised it doesn't tell you, but I believe it's 6 hours is your go-to. I did just check the label for tepifenicide the other day, and it is 6 hours for that product. So you can't be over 10 miles an hour wind. It did just say that. It's the same for both products. That means morning and evening application for the most part. So take some time to dry and stick. If you are in sunny conditions, the life in the field for BT is shorter, so it's between 3 to 7 days effective life in the field. If it's sunny and warm, that is on the shorter end. If it's cooler and cloudy, it's on the longer end. Does that answer your question? So, what you're going to see right now, and what you will not see, because I'm up here and you're over there, is at the very tippy tip of some of these needles. And I just had one. I'll lose it.
Okay, so you want to
Right now, in the field, they're just starting to emerge. They will web two little needles together, and they'll mine into the needle in order to get their first meal in the spring. That is all they can eat until these buds start to swell and open. Once the buds start to swell and open, then you're going to look more like this, and you will start to see opening buds, and I'm going to mess up your table here. So that right there is a Spruce Budworm larva that just fell out of that one, if anybody would like to take a look. This is a legitimate survey method. It's called branch beating. It is normally done in the field over a piece of fabric of a certain size. And when they reach a certain point, there is another species there that is probably Cristanura rosaceana. That is a close cousin to Spruce Budworm. That is the one you find in Annapolis very often. So if anybody wants to come up and take a look at what we're calling around on the desk, by all means do. And just understand that they're going to be very, very hard to see for the next 3 to 4 weeks. Once they start feeding in late May, early June outside of the bud, they will be very easy to find, and they will get easier through mid-June. If anybody has questions, you know how to get in touch, I hope. Somebody around here does. Very happy to take questions. Well, I've got a good audience here. I want to end on one final lesson, and that is the lens geometry of your cell phone. If you just go to take a picture, it is on 1x zoom, 1 time zoom. That is basically your eyeball. It's a not quite wide angle, but it's out there. It is not for taking pictures of things up close. If you want to send me a picture of a bug, I'm very happy to take these. Zoom in about 3 times. So say about 3x on there. That is now ready to take a close-up picture. So you're going to go just as close as your camera can focus. And that will give me a good picture. So it is the difference between this picture here, which, because I'm brilliant, I can do something with, and this picture here, which means I don't need glasses for another year. Fill out the picture. If it's Budworm, it's easy. It's got 4 white dots on the body segment. If it's something else, I've actually got to think about it. A really good picture helps me so very, very much. I'm always happy to take pictures and calls and help out with ID, as the Forest Service, but I live in the Armory, or I live in the red traffic, orange truck, bouncing around the field. So by all means get in touch. I do expect to see Budworm throughout this region. If you're outside of the mapped area and you see Budworm, I really want to hear from you. So thank you very much for coming today. If you have any questions, you want to know.
Thank you, Neil. Thank you, Neil.